Welcome along to the Racing Post Football Postcast. We're going to look at Sunday's games. I'm Dave Clark of the Racing Post, joined by colleagues Mark Langdon and Dan Childs in the studio. We've also got Ian Griffin on the line from our friends at Paddy Power. And Ian, kick us off with the Wigan Athletic Southampton game in the FA Cup, 1:30. What are your prices?
So we are even Southampton, 14-5 Wigan and 23-10 the draw. I think along with Man City, Wigan have the best defensive record across the 4 leagues. And I think they went off a lot shorter price at home to West Ham in the Cup as well. Southampton have scored less than 1 goal a game. So I fancy Wigan at 5-2, but even 5-1, Wigan to win to nil at a bigger price here.
OK, Mark, these two could be playing each other next year.
Yeah, they may well be. Of course, Mark Hughes has gone in as Southampton manager. I think he might get a reaction, and it's not necessarily because I think he's a good manager. I just think that they were being so badly mismanaged previously. And
in what way?
Well, they just had no plan. Whatever plan there was very negative. There didn't appear to be a philosophy or a way of how they were trying to get results. And looked like the manager was almost playing for the sake. He was pleading for it a few times. He was sort of kept saying, "Oh well, yeah, I might get sacked in a minute." I mean, players just eat that up all day long, if you give them the excuse. So maybe there will be a reaction. I don't think Hughes is a long-term good appointment for Southampton, but I was looking at this game. I think it might be quite tight. I was going to go for Southampton to win in extra time. Of course, these matches, they're settled on the day.
No replay.
I can see why Wigan, of course, beat Bournemouth. They beat West Ham, beat Man City with 10 men. Man City were down to 10 men. I just think that they can hold out for a certain amount of time against Southampton, but they've played quite. Their fixture load is very heavy at the moment. They played on Wednesday against Bradford, nicked a 1-0 win, and Southampton on the bench, likes of Boufal, Gabbiadini. I think as the game goes on, they'll be able to win the game. So I was looking at draw half-time, Southampton full-time. That might be one way. The other way, like I say, is maybe to back Southampton to win in extra time.
Dan, how do you see it?
I'm very strong Southampton here. I think they've been massively underperforming. I think the change of, I think player-wise, they're good enough to be a top-half Premier League team. I just think that the manager's done a poor job there. I'm not saying Hughes is the greatest manager, but I don't think he can do any worse. And I think there will be a bounce from him coming in. And I mean, you look at even under Pellegrino that they have won 1-0 at Fulham in the last earlier in the cup as well. And Fulham are probably one of the toughest non-Premier League ties. Fulham away, you could get in the especially the way they've started this year, playing better than Wolves. That's one of the toughest draws you could get outside of the Premier League. They won 1-0 there. Wigan. In the Bradford game that was mentioned this week, they lost their best player, Nick Powell, hobbled off injured. So that's another, downside for them. It's a big game for them, obviously. But the matches that have been mentioned, I mean, Man City, if the sending off doesn't happen, I mean, and even so, I mean, Man City with 10 men creates so many chances. The other two games, Bournemouth effectively put their reserves out. West Ham as well had tons of injuries and still, rested a load of their other players as well in that game. So I don't think you can compare those to what they're facing now, which is Southampton, a team that are good enough to be top half, need a result, need a good start to Hughes' reign there. And there's 2 divisions at the end of the day of quality between the sides. So anything around evens, I would be smashing into it.
An interesting one that, on the grand scheme of things, it wouldn't be an essential must-win game for Southampton, but because it's Mark Hughes' first game, do you think he'll see it as, let's get off to a good start, he's going to put a good side out?
I mean, you don't want to lose any game, but you wouldn't want to lose an FA Cup quarter-final in your opening game with all these big matches they've got coming up, and they've got they've got really tough running as well, haven't they, Southampton? Yeah. So I think they need to, he'll be desperate to get off to a good start. And
you get to a semi-final at Wembley, it lifts the whole club as well. It's an important game for him.
OK, sounds like you're going to be getting balls deep in that one, Dan. Right, let's move on then. We've got Leicester at home to Chelsea in the 4:30 kick-off. Ian, give us a show there, please, from Paddy Power, and of course, your own view on that one.
We're evens Chelsea. We're at 12-5 Leicester and 12-5 the draw. Yeah, both sides are going to be all out for the cup. I like the way Puel is playing. He's very attacking football. I think Chelsea created a lot of chances against Barca over the 2 legs, and it's going to be lots of goals. I think Chelsea be too strong, and Chelsea to win and both teams to score here at 3-1 seems the bet.
How do you see this one?
Yeah, I think
two
they'll-
Premier League winners.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be a lot of goals as well. Actually, I had both teams to score down as my sort of banker bet for it. Leicester. I mentioned this on last week's postcast. The absolutely table toppers in the both teams to score market 20 times in the Premier League this season. You don't really have them down as a team with goals at both ends type side, but they really are. I mean, Mahrez and Vardy can cause problems. Just not. I mean, I've still no idea how they won the Premier League with that defence. They just kept on, keeping clean sheets because it's not individually not that good, is it really? But Chelsea, I couldn't believe it when I was going back through the stats. Chelsea have only won 2 of their last 12 away matches, and each of their last 5 away matches have ended in defeat. So I mean, me and Dan both put Leicester up to win the FA Cup. So I'll be cheering on Leicester to win. But I'll go both teams to score in this one.
What price for that at start? Did you get on?
Yeah, they were a fair old price, weren't they? Sort of 25.
In that sort of region.
Around about that.
And you're both on?
Yeah. I mean, Dan put them up in the paper. I've had a small bet, only a small play.
Okay, Dan, so you'll be cheering the Foxes on there.
Yeah, and I think they're a little bit too big here as well. I'd looked at the draw no bet price, 6-4. Draw no bet. I'd rather be on the draw no bet because I just think Chelsea, if it goes into extra time and maybe on the penalties, sometimes if it goes to a shootout, the bigger players, and Chelsea got a lot of them, if it comes to a shootout, might handle the pressure of a shootout more. So that's why I go with Leicester draw no bet. Just take that out of the equation.
Caballero's brilliant at penalties.
Well,
exactly.
So I would rather take that out of the equation, go draw no bet. But my reasons, I mean, Mahrez has really, since the move fell through, he's come back fantastic, playing some great football. His link up with Vardy, he's just causes problems for almost any team really, and I just think Chelsea, they play well, as I mentioned, against Barcelona, but it is a blow to come back from that so quickly, going out of the Champions League and then you're suddenly thrown into another big game 4 days later, a tough game. I just think it's, and I also I think back to not that long ago when Chelsea played at home to Leicester in the league. I think it was just near the start of this year. I watched that game. And Leicester, until the sending off, they dominated that game. So they do seem to match up well against Chelsea. I just looked at the prices. Like I say, the timing of the fixture, Leicester all week to prepare, Chelsea going out of the Champions League, 6-4 draw no bet, just sounds good enough to me.
And we might see a change of keeper at the end. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh no, I wouldn't be surprised if he just played.
Angle,
I wouldn't be surprised if he
savers.
played Caballero from the start. I mean, he played in most of the domestic cup games anyway, and Courtois had a nightmare in Barca. If it goes to penalties, I mean, Vardy and Mahrez are not very good at them either for Leicester. They've missed a lot. They went out on pens to Man City in the League Cup, to a makeshift City side as well that didn't have too many of the big hitters. So that might be an angle if you fancy Chelsea to win it late, maybe on pens, because I mean, Willie Caballero is as good as anybody saving penalties, no doubt.
Ian, what price are Chelsea to win on penalties?
They're 12-1 to win on pens. Leicester 14s.
Okay, lovely stuff. We might have a few quid on that one. Right, thank you, gentlemen. We thank you for your pearls of wisdom this weekend's football. If you do enjoy listening to this podcast, please do ensure that you do rate, review and subscribe on iTunes, and we'll speak to you a little bit later on.
Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather or the gym.